seriously and install multiple speed cameras and ticketing, a tragedy is around the corner and it will sit squarely on city leadership for failing to take preemptive action. We lived in a neighborhood in Minnesota. We moved from Minnesota. And we lived not far from a road that was much like McCormick Woods Drive. And an elderly woman pushing her grandbaby in a stroller was hit in broad daylight and massacred by a speeder. It is going to happen here if you guys don't do something. I know you have some patrol cars going down, but they cannot scale to the size of the problem. It has to be an electronic ticketing system. And that is the thing that's going to work, because it's going to be painful for the people who are doing it. Without pain, they will ignore you 100%. And if you don't do it, who will? Because we can't do it. You have to do it. And the police have to do it. So it's up to you. And what are you waiting for? Because you guys have known this for quite some time. There's no more excuses, because someone's going to die. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council, please step to the microphone. Identify yourself to the records. You have 3 minutes.
Hi there, my name is Jessica Gallegos White, and this is my husband, Joe White.
Hello.
And my daughters are 5th generation Port Orchard, and we live on the Tremont corridor, and the road has been widened, and right now sits about 8 feet from our bedroom window. And so we're looking at building on a property that we've been living on that was my great grandfather's. He homesteaded in 1925. We were getting some information on the fees for parcel number 3424014-020-2005. And we were informed that because our front footage for the property up there was 239 feet, that we were going to be charged an additional fee of $28,151 for both sewer and water. The water line is an old line that was installed probably in the 1950s when my great-grandfather had to sell off his parcels because he needed to pay taxes to this community, and he was a farmer and could not afford it. So an old cast iron line, and you're asking me, and I have 5 other neighbors that are already attached to that line, and you're asking for an additional $28,151 for just water that's already there. There is a sewer line that goes in 56 feet to my property that was not extended all the way down to the end of Sunset Lane. When that project was happening, I called the city of Port Orchard to find out what they were doing. The person on the phone at, the project manager, they said, they're just putting a utility pole there. I said, well, the engineer told me he's putting a sewer line in. I'd like to put a stub up there, please. Well, by the time they called me back 3 weeks later, yes, we are putting a sewer line in there. I'm sorry, we didn't know that. It's too late for me to file a permit and get that going. I've called and I've emailed several times to the city department, and they told me in order to attach to that line that I have to extend the sewer line down Sunset Lane to the edge of my 239 feet. Engineering. Well, why didn't they do that? They stopped because it goes downhill. So where does that put us for attaching to the water, connecting to the sewer, and the other fees? We're looking at $108,000 and $561,000. That is absolutely disproportionate. And we're a family that wants to stay in our community and invest in our community. And we just can't do this. This is going to kill our project. Nobody knows what's going on. If I call the city, they don't know. They don't know. We don't know that the sewer line's going in it. How can that be? To make us prepared for this project. What I'm asking for is a basis of calculation. I request clarification on how that money is going to be spent.
Excuse me, ma'am, but your time is up.
So do I get another 3 minutes at the end?
Yes, you can. Thank you for your comment. Anyone else wishing to address the council this evening? Right, we will close the first citizen comment period. We have a published consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilmember Rose Pepe.
Mayor, move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Rose Pepe, a second by Councilmember Morrissey to approve the consent agenda as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda has been approved. We have no presentations. We have no public hearings. We do have an executive session planned for this time of the meeting. And Charlie, if we're planning for 20 minutes, to start with 20 minutes. Charlie, you want to state the statutes pertaining to this executive session?
Yes, thank you. The council will enter an executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-110 subpart 1, subpart I, to discuss legal risk of a proposed action when public discussion could have adverse legal or financial consequences. And both topics will be under that same topic. And did you say 15 minutes?
20.
20 minutes,
20.
with the meeting to continue, so action to follow.
Okay. Okay, great. What's that? Yes, thank you. It's a parcel number, but we're at like 340 Tremont Street. So, and then we're on Sunset Lane is where our project is. Yeah, so we have a parcel number. Okay. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, you get it. Good time. You know, I complained to the family member that she reminded me, she said, well, they got a reason to do 3 weeks of Boston. Did you go to Greece? Yeah, my great, if you haven't, like Turkish. Like Turkish business class was not much more expensive.
Connection.
Fees for water sewer hookup. Yeah. Connection fees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I stayed in. We've never done. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, yeah, then you definitely can do it. Yes, man, just Google it, so next time you get over there. It's not too far crazy expensive over first class. You can save more of the money. So I've got a pot. I'm willing for that. See, now you have to. No, it's too cheap not to go. I saw that I laughed. Started flying. But still, they're taking on a lot of stuff. My brother was she finished it last. Yeah. Yeah, well, life's too expensive, man. I'll go through my house. All right, I'm talking about. Randy, we're supposed to sign.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do sign-in sheets,
Oh.
not required. But what the council does want is if, citizens want contact by the council, they can fill this out and then at the end, we scan it and send it to them. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Nice to see you. You too, man.
Here's some of the bullet points that I have. I also wanted to talk about, sustainability and keeping businesses, because we own a local business and residents.
This other one, is that over our house?
So, yeah, so I got that number. So this is the number just for the 117, if you times 239. Go ahead and.
And that's where you get this and that's the
Yeah.
comparison.
And so, this is the whole, what's projected,
Just for,
just, well, this is like if we didn't have these fees, it would be 52,259 just for the connection. For
Yeah.
storm drain water impact, or, building permits
that,
and stuff like that.
was the.
For the 100. This, is still high, but it's reasonable compared to. Should have told you earlier, how would I know you guys were speaking on the same topic? So they have quite a bit to talk about. They have, I don't know, 2, 4, 6, 8. They got about 10 items. Sometimes it goes too fast. Yeah, we were here 2 weeks ago and there wasn't a meeting, so we figured that this week there was gonna make up for that. Yeah, we only have one meeting in August. Yeah. But when they opened it back up, if you still can't get everything done that you want to talk about in the 3 minutes. Then, you can
Shift
continue to
over
talk,
to-
but you just have to, I would just walk up separate. Okay. I mean, you could have done that before. Good to know. But yeah, I mean, that's one way to get a little more time. We used to allow to defer time, but we don't do that anymore. But each person has to do the ability to do 3 minutes, so. it's up to you. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Good to
know. Thank you. What's your name? Brandy. Brandy, yeah. Crazy though.
Yeah, it's so cold in here. What's the temperature? Yeah, let's take it up to at least 70.
Thanks for showing me this picture. I appreciate it.
Sure. So I can't, I'm not getting the ones that you can just click all the way down on.
Oh, you're not.
No, I don't get those. No,
Gentlemen, we gotta get going.
I don't get them. Mhm. I don't get those.
All right, we're back in
Had a
session
bad time
and
too.
thank you, Janine. So we're back in session and I believe one of you wishes to add a business item.
Yeah, I will make a motion to authorize the filing of litigation
Oh,
against.
no,
You gotta just the
That's the
agenda.
action. We're gonna add a business item, which would be
Eight A.
it would be the new item A, and I think what the motion you want to make is to take legal action against 1114 Garrison Avenue, to add that as a business.
Yeah,
business
so
item.
you want me to read this?
So it's
That's
two
the motion
steps.
when we go to take the action.
Okay,
We're
got it.
one step ahead.
I'll second the amendment to the agenda.
Okay, so the amendment that I think Councilmember Dieter made was to add a new item A, which is legal action against 1114 Garrison.
That would have been K.
And a
Okay.
second by Councilmember Morrissey. Any discussion, adding that to the agenda? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item has been added as our new item A. Ms. Archer, do you want to have anything for a staff report for this particular item?
Just very briefly, the staff is recommending the city council authorize litigation against the property owners of 1114 Garrison Avenue for pending code violations and associated penalties. And the council has the sole discretion to authorize the city to commence litigation. That's why it's a request of the city. Code enforcement staff have worked diligently to pursue this case and have been unable to do so with the administrative tools that we have. Thus, we must seek a judicial order.
Okay.
All right.
With that, I'll make a motion to
Thank you.
authorize the filing of litigation against the owners of real property located at 114 Garrison Avenue for code violations and associated penalties.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Diener, a second by Councilmember Morrissey to pursue legal action against 1114 Garrison Avenue. Councilmember Rosbeck? go ahead.
Yes, you mentioned that there are several code violations there. Could you give an example of some that would
Absolutely.
justify this action?
Absolutely. So there are 5 notices of violation that have been issued over the course of approximately 5 years, 6 years. The violations range from the installation of additional impervious surfaces, so additional driveways, additional concrete installation without permits, the construction of a garage structure without associated permits, as well as illicit discharge. The property is currently flagged as no occupancy permitted, no certificate of occupancy. There's no water service and no sewer service, and yet the property owners continue to occupy the property. So these are all code violations that are of a significant and serious nature for which we would seek judicial involvement.
Thank you.
Further questions? All right, you'll be voting to take legal action against 1114 Garrison Avenue. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. We're now to item B, which was previously item A, adoption of an ordinance amending the 2025-26 biennial budget. Mr. Rocker, this is you.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Portrait's biennial budget for 25-26, as adopted by 1824 and amended by ordinance 00525, is written to capture revenue expenses over the fiscal period. By this ordinance, the City Council would amend the 25-26 biennial budget, and the ordinance would provide the following: an increase of transfers out to Fund 302 for the acquisition of a building, including minor renovations, in the amount of $2,600,000. And include an increase into Fund 302 from 001 to make this acquisition as well as complete the minor reservations. Staff would recommend approval of the motion to adopt the amendment.
Councilmember Trenary.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt an ordinance amending the 25-26 biennial budget.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Trenary, second by Councilmember Rosenpepe. And any questions of Mr. Crocker? All right, you'll be voting on an amendment, an ordinance amending the 2025-2026 biennial budget. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the ordinance is passed. We're to item C, which was previously item B, adoption of an ordinance repealing and replacing chapters 2.64 of the Port Orchard Municipal Code and amending sections 15.30, 0.150, 9.30.050, 9.30.080, and 9.30.100. And this is Ms. Archer again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before the council this evening is an omnibus ordinance that would make amendments to a variety of portions of the municipal code. But the single subject that ties all of these amendments together is improvements to our code enforcement and administrative appellate procedures. That is the goal that underlies all of the proposed amendments. City staff regularly audit the code enforcement tools and procedures that we utilize and to ensure that they are clear and transparent and effective. And as a result of that audit over the past couple of years, city staff have been working in conjunction with myself to propose amendments to specific provisions of the POMC that would provide additional tools to match those that are successfully utilized by other agencies, as well as to improve the tools that we currently utilize and the due process protections that we afford in the form of administrative appeals that are offered to individuals who are the target of code enforcement violations. Another component of this ordinance that I do want to flag for you is that in our modifications to our appellate procedures, one of the suggestions that we have collectively been discussing as a council along with myself over the years has been modifying our appellate procedures so that appeals of certain enforcement actions, certain land use decisions go to the independent hearing examiner rather than to the city council. And you'll recall from those conversations that we had that when you city council sit in a administrative appellate position, that is a quasi-judicial proceeding for which you are subject to the appearance of fairness doctrine. And the hiccup there becomes you as city council members are not allowed to speak to anyone in the public about that subject matter. And that can often hamstring your ability to serve your constituents and to hear from them when they have concerns. Your insurer also, and all of the insurers that serve municipalities and public agencies recommend utilizing a hearing examiner in lieu of having the legislative body sit in that appellate position so that it depoliticizes these administrative appellate decisions so that you're not feeling compelled based on your position as a legislative body rather than as an administrative body. So just a reminder, your hearing examiner who we have under contract is attorney Phil Olbrechts, who has been serving as the hearing examiner. Nick, do you know how long he's been your hearing examiner? A few years.
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years at this point. But he currently serves as hearing examiner for dozens of cities across the state and has been in the hearing examining game for quite a while and is very skilled and handles both code enforcement, land use, all types of hearings as an administrative body or an administrative arm of municipalities. So a big component of this ordinance would amends a number of these sections to streamline the appellate procedures so that appeals will now go to the hearing examiner rather than to the city council. So, for example, illicit discharge is something that we pursue in the city when there is someone who is illicitly discharging sewage or other contaminants into the water system, into the public waters or into the storm system. Illicit discharge, as it currently exists, if we issue a notice, your stormwater enforcer, the code says that appeal comes to you. We've never had one, so we haven't experienced that, but this ordinance would streamline this and have that appeal be heard by the hearing examiner rather than by the city council. The bulk of the amendments proposed are to chapter 2.64. And because those amendments are significant in nature and very additive, so there's multiple new sections being added to chapter 2.64, which is the code enforcement chapter. My suggestion to the council and the way I've prepared this ordinance is to repeal and replace. So there's two forms: we amend or we repeal and replace when something is a substantial rewrite of a particular chapter. And this, the amendments to 2.64 broaden what the code enforcement officer or the code enforcement toolbox looks like, as well as I mentioned, adding very clear processes for administrative appeals from the code enforcement officer's orders. So if an order is issued, there's now a very clear process by which an appeal gets filed, where that appeal goes. All of this will aid the city staff in ensuring that appeals are handled expeditiously and heard expeditiously by the hearing examiner, and that individuals aren't waiting for due process, that we are able to move these things forward in an expeditious way. Under the new code enforcement provisions in 2.64 as well, just want to highlight currently under Title 20, which is your development code, the code enforcement officer is authorized to issue notices of violation. Under 2.64, however, the original drafting of that section focuses almost exclusively on civil infractions. And as I noted in the staff report, and we had this conversation a few years ago when it occurred, a change in law that stripped or made it more challenging for code enforcement officers to receive limited commissions. The law changed such that if you received a limited commission, you actually had to essentially do most of the training to be a law enforcement officer, which if you're trained as a law enforcement officer, you're probably going to want to go into that field rather than code enforcement. So many agencies ceased issuing civil infractions because they no longer had commissioned code enforcement officers. And we are among those that sort of reconfigured the way in which we handled things. And again, under Title 20, we always had the authority to issue other versions of notices, including notices of violation. But this removes any confusion between any potential disconnect between 2.64 and Title 20, as well as the other chapters that are cited for amendment. It harmonizes 2.64 with the hearing examiner chapter, which is 2.84, and makes necessary modifications to the abatement hearings officer so that his role, your abatement hearings officer, is Judge Drury. And Judge Drury's role is to hear abatement orders, which are dangerous building directed orders. And so this clarifies that that is his role, whereas the hearing examiner is going to hear all other forms of code enforcement, so that we bifurcate those two concepts, make the process again clear, so that Brandy's office knows where things go, so that all the staff know how to ensure that folks are getting their concern timely heard, and that our code enforcement officer is able to issue those. So because it is such a large ordinance, I tried to keep it at a high level while still highlighting certain things, but I'm absolutely happy to stand for any questions related to the material. The recommendation is for you to adopt the ordinance. The motion as drafted, you don't need to say all the amended sections, but they each relate directly to code enforcement or appellate procedures, and they are all the same subject, all tied to that same concept. And that's why we're able to touch multiple sections of the code at the same time, in case there are questions about that. So I'll pause there, and I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Councilmember Fenton?
Yeah. I move to adopt an ordinance repealing and replacing chapter 2.64 of the Port Orchard Municipal Code pertaining to code enforcement and amending related sections pertaining to enforcement and appeal process.
Second.
Procedure.
A motion by Councilmember Fenton, a second by Councilmember Chang. Any additional? Go ahead, Councilmember Roseberry.
And Charlie, just to be sure that because this is moving forward, would not be retroactive, therefore would not be punitive to any past code enforcement actions.
Correct. This is not retroactive. Yes, it will be, and it's an ordinance. It will be in effect 5 days after publication.
Just double checking. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Morrissey?
Yeah, Ms. Archer,
Talk to me a little bit when we're talking about that and why we'll use a separate hearing. Delineate just a little further for me why we wouldn't use our municipal. We have a judge.
Correct.
Why wouldn't we use somebody that we already have here in place of a hearing examiner?
It's just not a subject matter expert.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. The municipal judge is not a land use specialist in the way that a hearings examiner is. And code enforcement is land use, is integrated with land use with the building code. We have historically had dangerous building abatements. The process that we follow is it goes through an administrative hearing before your development director, and then an appeal would go to your abatement hearings officer. And it was only a few years ago that Judge Drew re-entered that position. I don't know who was the abatement hearings officer prior, but arguably we could move towards consolidation into one under Phil. But at this point, I think under Mr. Ulbricht, I think it makes sense to continue to keep them bifurcated. We don't very often use the dangerous buildings code, but when we do, I think he does have the ability. Abatement is far less technical, dangerous buildings, because the technical findings occur at the administrative step. And then he's merely reviewing to see if there was adequate evidence to support the finding of Mr. Bond. Sorry, that was more than you asked. But.
Well, a little bit, but again, I'm trying to wrap my head around the differences other than somebody's a subject matter expert. And I think just in the future, we'd look for a judge. What I'm trying to say is, are there communities that use their judge in this capacity?
Not that I'm aware.
That judge has that skill set.
Right.
And what would be the reason? I'm trying to really delineate the reason on why you would want to officially delineate it.
Absolutely. The municipal court judge overhears misdemeanors and the things that are delegated to a municipal court judge. I'm not aware of any agency that uses their municipal court judge for code enforcement administrative appeals. The individuals who are in that arena, and I myself serve as a hearing examiner for a city in the state, those are typically lawyers who practice in the legal field or in the land use field, or have some other subject matter expertise with regards to the building code, with regards to the plumbing code, the electrical codes, because they are being asked to be the first line of review of the administrative act, the code enforcement line. So the municipal court judge handles criminal issues. These are entirely civil, and they are entirely based in the building code, in land use related issues, whether someone needed to get an LDAP versus an SDP. It's a far more technical analysis than I have ever seen a municipal court judge venture into.
So, but even in some circumstances, we're asking elected bureaucrats to do that, fill that role.
And I believe that's why insurance recommends that you do not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Our judge and what I'm looking for in a resume for our municipal judge: prosecution experience, defense, ideally prosecution and defense experience, for sure, one side or the other. Where that land use, the hearing examiner is a land use attorney, and his resume and skill set is in this realm of land use, where
right.
Our judge is really, it's criminal and civil matters. He just happens to serve, I think, more for expediency than anything. If we've got a dangerous building, we've done everything and we want to take action quickly, versus scheduling something with our hearing examiner that takes quite some time, to get before.
And if I can add to that, we did not have a dangerous building abatement officer. That the judge stepped into that role in 2019, and that was solely because the hearing examiner that we used to have was significantly more expensive than the one we have now, and so the cost of that service was going to be $2,500 to $4,000 per hearing, and we were able to negotiate with the judge for a much lower fee. And because it was reviewing my decision rather than being that first line, we felt like he could probably handle that task. But it was a cost thing, and prior to 2019, we didn't have anybody in that role. I believe the way the code was set up was that it would go to the city council, or we would potentially have to go straight to Superior Court and file a suit.
Right.
All right. Any more questions on that aspect of it? Okay. Councilor Diener, you have a question?
Just a comment. Thanks for putting this together. I believe it's a generational leap in how we do code enforcement, particularly in terms of effectiveness. So I applaud all the work that went into this. It wasn't necessarily an easy read, but I thank you for your work. One of the things that the director is asked to look at in terms of code compliance, and it's spoken to, I think, in a couple places, is there due diligence and substantial progress being made on a project? And I was just wondering how, Nick, you look at due diligence or substantial progress that can hold off further actions by the city? Or maybe that's for you.
I'm happy to answer it since we're venturing into some uncharted territory. Nick hasn't yet exercised that. So in practice, what that looks like is we follow the building permit timeline that is associated with the underlying permit. So for example, and this is only where there's a building issue, and I can speak to the rest in 1 second, but for example, so if someone were to do construction work without a permit, we would offer them the opportunities to obtain a retroactive permit to fix it or take it down. Either way, they would need to submit their application for either permit in accordance with the notice of violation that will say, here's the deadline by which you need to submit it. If there's some undue reason why that process, they can't meet those deadlines, if there's some reasonable reason, we are always very reasonable to work with them, but we need to move them forward in some ways. The code then says they need to submit, once they've submitted the application, if we've said this looks good, they need to submit follow-up information within 90 days. If they don't, then the permit is canceled, then we move in furtherance. So it may seem discretionary in the code, but we plan to follow the timelines dictated by the process that's relevant. In the illicit discharge, in the stormwater violations, in the water violations, there are similar timelines associated.
Okay, yeah, those are terms that are not necessarily, that are not defined in our code. And I know jurisdictions wrestle with what is substantial.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Further questions, comments? All right, you'll be voting on adoption of an ordinance repealing and replacing chapter 2.64 of the Port Orchard Municipal Code. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the ordinance passes unanimously. Item D, which was previously item C, with adoption of an ordinance amending Port Orchard Municipal Code, section 5.12.100, modifying the minimum threshold for required business license to match the Washington State Model Ordinance. Mr. Crocker, this is you.
Thank you, Mayor. By way of background, in 2018, cities in Washington were required by the Washington State Legislature to adopt the Model Business License Ordinance to govern the business licensing process in a uniform manner throughout the state. The ordinance includes a mandatory definition of engaging in business and a minimum threshold exemption to establish when out-of-town or transient businesses are required to be licensed. The model was recently reviewed and updated by AWC and the Associated Work Group of Cities in 2024. Pursuant to the state law, cities must adopt the updated threshold by January 1st, 2026. The city businesses license regulations are codified by Chapter 512 of the Port Orchard Municipal Code. In 2018, the City Council adopted a minimum threshold of $2,000 for both in-city and out-of-city businesses. The city councils are required that all businesses apply for business licenses so that we know who is doing business in the city. The proposed ordinance amends the minimum threshold and increases it from $2,000 to $4,000 for out-of-city businesses, effective January 1st, 2026. The other amendment to this chapter is every 4 years thereafter, the threshold would have an automatic period increase based on cumulative inflation. The rates of inflation would be calculated using CPI for June of each year compared to the previous years for those years. In summary, the proposed ordinance raises the minimum threshold to $4,000 for both in-city and out-of-city businesses and incorporates the recommended periodic increases based on cumulative inflation. Staff would recommend we approve the ordinance updating the business licensing minimum threshold.
Councilmember Warden.
I move to approve the ordinance amending Port Orchard Municipal Code, section 512-100 as presented. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Warden, a second by Councilmember Rosapepe. Do you have any questions for Mr. Bond? We're mirroring what the new state law is. We're raising the thresholds for when you need to get a business license. Councilmember?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. What does it cost to process a business license?
We haven't done analysis on internal staff time to process a business license, but the fee is $35 administered by the state.
Okay. The $35 administered by the state means we don't get to keep that money.
No, we do. We receive.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just curious on the cost of that. Was $4,000 the right number just because everyone else is doing it? Does that mean that we should do it? When we look at our share of the sales tax at $4,000, we're going to take $40 home of that. Does it make sense? Should that be higher? Are we burdening our staff? We hear regularly, the capacity issues that we have at the city. Have we been thoughtful about this, and does it need to be a higher dollar amount?
Well, the 4,000 is the gross business sales that the business is doing within the city limits. So
Right.
that's
So
the
I
threshold.
assume we're after the sales tax dollars, right? And that's part of what we're looking to regulate if they're going to be underneath of that. And at $4,000, and I do the portion share of the 9.3% that we charge here in the city of Port Orchard, we're going to take home about $40 of that. So I'm trying to make sure that it's the right move for us and that we don't need to make that higher.
I just want to confirm that we're required to increase the minimum threshold as a part of the state.
I understand. I'm asking, do I want that to be $10,000 so I have less of them coming through? Because I don't want every merchant at the farmer's market getting a business license because they're going to hit 4,000 when really mathematically it makes sense that we should be setting that at $10,000 exemption. It set the minimum. It didn't say that we couldn't charge more by the state, at least according to what I read in our staff report.
And when you say charge more, you mean just raise the
That's the second threshold. I don't actually mean charge more, but yeah.
Silly higher.
I'm not aware of anyone that has deviated from that standard. So we'd be happy to provide you that data of what the delta would be of city time, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like it's de minimis as is, but I can't speak to that.
Yes.
I'd just be curious. I'm for moving forward with 4. It popped in my head as you were saying it, like, okay. And then I start thinking about the percentage that we pay over at the dealership. And I was like, does it make sense at 4,000? Or are we just putting 4,000 because that's what everybody else is doing? Let's make a smart business decision.
No.
Councilmember Rosebud?
Yeah, I know we're into semantics here, but I certainly don't want to add a burden to somebody that wants to bring their business into the city. And we want to encourage business, and I don't want to be saying, hey, let's raise our business fee to keep business out as long as we're covering.
I hope you all understand what we're doing here. None of this goes to the business. This is the threshold that they have to meet to obtain a business license. So I'm trying to make it easier to do business in the city of Port Orchard.
I understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilmember Chang?
I just wanted to comment that this is, of course, administered through the state's website. So when you're getting your obligatory state license, you also have to get one in the city. And currently it is 2,000. I mean, we all agree there. It is 2,000 and we're raising it to 4,000. So people who make less than 4,000 or 400 a month don't have to do this. And
gross.
As one of the little vendors at Josephine's, I don't know that the $35 or $40 license fee is really that difficult. And I think it's actually nice to have the business license. You can put it up on your stand or your booth or your pop-up. It gives a sense of legitimacy, and I think people like that. So I don't think that it's a hardship for the threshold being only 4,000.
And I don't believe it's administratively a burden on us because
that was asked, right?
Yeah. I mean, I understand it. You're going to go, this was kind of hard for me because I didn't know what was going on in this. And so I got it figured out by some extra, council member, but, we could go a little higher. That's very business friendly because we don't set the rate on your license. The state does, or here. So I thought that's an interesting little proposal. But wasn't the state doing this? Or
Yes,
this is,
the
the state does
state
this,
doesn't
so we
opt it
can't
out.
really, I don't think we could go higher.
We could,
Oh, okay.
possibly.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify one thing. And this may have came through, but I guess where my confusion was coming from. Because we require everyone to get a business license in the city,
Yeah.
regardless of threshold. They only are exempt from the fee if it's above.
Okay.
Now it would be above 4,000. So if you're saying you want to change that, that's a different conversation.
It is. It
We
is.
already
Okay.
require that whether you pay the fee or not, right?
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So this is just really about the fee.
Do we want to look at that then? If we require that,
Maybe economic.
Well,
development or fi-
maybe that's something that we could.
Yeah, maybe at our economic development, section.
I think the council member asked if we should look at not requiring all businesses to apply for a license.
Okay, yes, and that we can look at that. That would be a deviation from the model ordinance, that we are technically, because we participate in the business licensing service through the state, we are required to.
Yeah.
And I think we probably need to take those type of actions to it, because there could be unintended consequences.
It could be.
Modifying this on the fly here, that we aren't aware of.
Oh, yeah, I
So,
don't want to do it right now.
Yeah. So go ahead, Mr. Bach.
And I would just point out that the business license is one of the few ways that we get notified that somebody is conducting business. And so there's building codes, there's land use codes. If you're doing a home-based business, we have no idea whether we need to verify that you're following the rules or not. And this is the one way we have to actually find out that somebody is operating something that may otherwise require other approvals. So usually when these licenses come in, we will send out a letter letting them know that they need to potentially get a certificate of occupancy, or that there are additional requirements associated with whatever it is that they're doing. So this is our one chance to be informed of what is actually happening within the city.
So I'll go back to my original question. How much does all that cost the city of Port Orchard?
It's a bit. I mean, I don't know what the current volume of licenses is, but I think it's in the low thousands of reviews that we get. And so a lot of them, you can look at it and say that this is the use and there's no concern, or it's a change of name. And then there's some that are new that do require a significant amount of time, or that at least trigger some other notice where, maybe we get 100 or 200 a year that we have to write a letter and say, hey, you need to apply for this, and start doing some hand holding.
So I'm going to try to rein this back in, because that's not the action that we're discussing tonight. We're talking about raising the threshold to be in line with the state's standards. And if there's a desire to take up whether we have business license or not at thresholds, I think that's a body of work that one of the committees could do. And I heard Economic Development Committee. So that great task to discuss that there and look at the pros and cons and potential unintended consequences related to modifying that. So are we comfortable with questions related to the topic at hand? All right, I heard a motion by Councilmember Gordon, and I think the second was by Councilmember Rosa Pepe.
Correct.
All right, and you'll be voting on an ordinance amending Port Orchard Municipal Code, modifying the minimum threshold for business license. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing none, the ordinance passes. We're to item E, previously item D, adoption of a resolution approving amendment number 1 to contract number 62-23, Salish Behavioral Health Contract Amendment. Mr. Crocker.
Sorry, I'm trying to find where we're at on this agenda now. It's been modified. We're D, 8D, prior D.
It's the item D.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so yes, we have talked about this several times over the last council meetings. This is simply a resolution bringing the amendment forward to modify our agreement, our ILA with the Salish Behavioral Health District to provide us additional service and to provide additional funding of the opioids for this contract. So staff would recommend that council authorize the mayor to execute amendment number 1 to the contract for use of the city's settlement proceeds for the opioid multi-district litigation.
Councilmember Chang.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute amendment number 1 to the interlocal agreement with Salish Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization for use of the city's settlement proceeds from the opioid multi-district litigation.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Chang, second by Councilmember Fenton. I think we took action a couple of council meetings ago to accept the settlement, and now this is the management. These are small chunks of money that are being assembled and then managed by Salish Behavioral Health. So, any questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what are the totals now, right? I remember this first one that came to us and we sent it off and said, it's not going to amount to enough for us to do it, but now we've had money coming from Johnson & Johnson. We had money come in from Kroger. We had money come in from the Sackler family. I believe there's another one in there too. 4 total different distributions. What's our total dollar amount up to?
Well, so as I have here in the fiscal note, as of June, the total balance is 157,000 for what we've collected thus far. With each settlement, the real challenge is it's over like a 15-year period where you're only going to collect maybe $5,000 to $6,000 per settlement.
Correct.
So it doesn't add up significantly in a single fiscal year. Maybe over the 10-year period, it might amount to a little bit of money, but not enough to where we can administer our own program.
But it wouldn't be a point where over the next, because I think some of them, did I read, we're up to 15 years that they're going to pay. Because one of them was almost 200,000. So that's why I didn't know the dollars of each one. If all 4 of them were that, we were up to $1 million.
Yeah, I don't have that number. I can get back to you on that, but it doesn't add up to be $1 million over time.
Okay.
Yeah. And as you can see with the ones that we have received, it's 160,000. If you think about full-time employee, they're already 100,000 just for the employee for 1 year. You're going to eat into this opioid funds.
Yeah, I don't want an employee. I was hoping we could buy a building or do something and then give it to something like Salish C so they can be located right here.
No, and that's why we partnered with the county because we found that to be the most effective way to deploy these dollars.
I was just curious on if we had a total dollar number, if I was anywhere close to $1 million or where we're at, because I know we only had the one in there that told us exactly what we got out of that one settlement.
Sounds like about 150 grand
a year.
Since June. All right, further questions? You'll be voting on adoption of a resolution approving amendment number 1 to the Salish Behavioral Health Contract Amendment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is approved. We're at item F, which is previously item E, adoption of a resolution approving a professional service agreement with Consor North America, Inc. for the design of the Old Clifton Intertie project.
Thank you, Mayor. The city of Port Orchard is moving forward with the Old Clifton Intertie project to strengthen its water system and infrastructure. The project will enhance the water source redundancy, improve system resiliency, and reduce dependence on outside water providers. The work includes constructing a new booster pump station, a pressure reducing valve facility, and installing approximately 5,800 feet of 12-inch water main along Southwest Old Clifton Road. This would connect the city's 580 pressure zone to the 390 pressure zone, combining both the city water system and the McCormick water system. Following a competitive qualification process, Consor North America was selected as the most qualified firm to lead the design. The proposed contract is $998,934 and covers preliminary design up to 60%, permitting and bid support. Final design and construction services will be addressed in a future budget amendment. The $1 million that currently funds this is through the Public Works loan, which we secured previously. And I would remind council that we currently have an application in for $5 million, which would cover the additional needed design support. And we should hear back from that in October. Should we not get that opportunity, there is another funding cycle for design services opening in November. So thank you.
Councilmember Trenary, go ahead.
Yes, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Consor North America, Inc. for the design of the Old Clifton Intertie project in the amount of $998,934.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Trenary, second by Councilmember Rosapepe. And it's important to note, this gets us to 60%. We've got applications pending to get us that last 40% and for construction dollars that we're still pursuing. So, but we need to get this project going and designed so we can connect our two water systems. So Councilmember Rosebeck.
So two things. First one's a question is, does this include the separation of from the Bremerton system? Okay, does not.
There's other minor projects that.
Yeah, okay, so that doesn't, that's what I was wondering. Second of all, just for everybody on the council, we heard from a consort tonight who gave us an update on the sewer system, and they gave a very nice presentation, and you'll be meeting them on next Tuesday at the work study meeting. So, you know, right now, what I've seen from them has been thumbs up. So go from there.
Okay, Councilmember Chang.
Dennis, do you know when the intertie will be effective or when?
So right now our plan is, we are trying to wrap up design. Should we secure that additional funding, our hope is to wrap up design, early first quarter. We anticipate that we could be in construction if we're funded by next summer.
Next summer. So all the water at Port Orchard could be.
Well, we'll go to construction. That'll take
sloshing around by next summer.
You know,
not construction.
It's got a lift station that needs to get built. It's a big project. But it'll.
I just like to know the timeline because I know we were so far in advance, but so.
Yeah. We're probably 2 years away from it being operational at least.
No magic.
And we've got to get some additional.
2 more years.
Is this the one that ties in with the roundabout?
It'll go underneath that roundabout.
Are those going to be done
simultaneously?
Yep.
Oh.
Concurrently was the word I was going to use.
So you're talking about the old Clifton, or the Anderson Hill roundabout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going to do it all at once so that we don't have to tear up the street more than one.
They'll be separate contracts.
Correct.
So,
but
we will definitely want to have the water main underneath the roundabout before you build the roundabout. I can assure you of that.
I guess what I'm trying to ask, will that roundabout be done right after we do that so that we don't have to go through 2 sets of construction?
Mayor, this project actually goes into McCormick Woods before you get to the Anderson Hill roundabout. So the roundabout you're thinking of is the other roundabout, which is a separate water main project. It's one of the projects that's needed to complete the disconnect from Bremerton. And so this is just from the industrial park to the backside of McCormick Woods in what was called Parcel D or Eldon Trails. And so there's a little fire road there, and the water main goes through that fire road before you get to Anderson Hill. And that's how that will tie in.
I thought it was under that roundabout. So,
but there's a contract coming shortly, maybe the end of the month, first part of next month for that design of that roundabout. So, Councilmember?
Yeah. Were there other bids as well, or just this one?
Professional services. So you don't when it comes to professional services, it's not a bid process. You interview and you're selected on qualifications to perform. So there's a panel and a qualifications process, and then you negotiate the fee from the most qualified firm to do the work. So
Yeah, $1 million for 60%. I'm for sure in the wrong business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty wild to me. Then have to come back and pay whatever for another 40% plus construction of that.
Yeah, we've got a $5 million loan application in to hopefully finish it up.
It's a lot.
It is. Councilmember Turner.
I believe there were 4 firms that submitted statements of qualifications, and then they were whittled down to 2 firms.
And then interviewed.
Which were interviewed, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we're actually prevented by state law from asking or considering cost at the outset. We have to choose based on qualifications without considering price or billing.
And then once they give you a price, you can just decline the.
Correct. Yeah. If it's not within your.
Start your process over.
Sure.
Yeah. Councilmember?
A quick question for Director Crocker. This was in the budget?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? You'll be voting on a resolution approving a professional service agreement with Consor North America for the design of the Old Clifton Intertie project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. We're to item G, which is previously item F, authorization to close on the purchase of real property known as 1333 Lloyd Parkway by the city of Port Orchard. Mr. Archer, Ms. Archer?
Thank you, Mayor. Before the council this evening is a request for authorization from the council that the mayor may be able to execute all documents necessary to close on the purchase of real property located at 1333 Lloyd Parkway. As council will recall, on August 12th of this year, council authorized the mayor to execute a purchase and sale agreement for the purchase of this real property. This parcel, it was identified as it being for sale and in close proximity to the city's existing public works facility and office. The acquisition of this real property, which includes an office building and a workshop, allows the city to meet its current and future operational needs for the Public Works Department. You'll recall the city had planned to construct a facility to meet this need, but acquisition comes at a significant cost savings to building a new facility. The seller and city agreed to the terms for the purchase and sale agreement, and consistent with your authority, that purchase and sale agreement was signed, subject to contingencies and subject to city council approval. So this evening, we are asking now for authorization from the city council for the mayor to execute all documents necessary to close on the sale of the property, as the due diligence process has concluded to the city's satisfaction. Thank you.
Councilmember Morrissey?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the mayor to take all actions necessary to close the purchase of real property located at 1333 Lloyd Parkway, consistent with the terms and conditions set forth in the previously approved purchase and sale agreement.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Morrissey and a second by Councilmember Dean. I just want to correct Ms. Archer state, we have not waived our contingency yet, and all the conditions have not been met yet. This just authorizes me when our contingency period does expire next week.
Right.
So we have to give notice next week as it relates to contingency, and we're nearly done with all of our contingency work related to this purchase. So our goal would be to close by October 1st on this transaction if all the contingency items are met and satisfactory. So Councilmember Rosebud.
I took the words right out of my mouth, so thank you very much, Mayor.
Okay. Other comments or questions? Councilmember Trenary.
Yeah, I'd just like to say this is kind of a perfect storm situation. You know, Public Works, our current Public Works location has been busting at the seams over the last few years, and with the continual and ongoing growth we've had in the city, we've been unable to keep up with that, let alone try to get ahead of it. So coming onto this piece of property that's already built out and can be functional almost immediately is, as I said, a perfect storm. I'd like to commend the mayor and the staff for keeping your ears to the ground, because there was already bids on this property. And had we not, and it wasn't posted, had we not had our ears to the ground as we did, we might not have this opportunity. So thank you for city staff and the mayor for doing a great job.
Thank you. Other comments or questions?
I'll just second what Mark had to say. I think it was good diligence and a neat way to expand our capacity without having to do a lot of other capital costs.
Yeah, it's a win-win if we're able to close on this by the end of the month. All right, you'll be voting on the authorization of the purchase of real property known as 1333 Lloyd Parkway. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The authorization to the close has been approved. We are to item H, which is previously item G, is a fee of lieu of construction for Salmonberry Apartments. Mr. Bond.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and members of council. Family Legacy Development has proposed to pay a fee in lieu of constructing required frontage improvements associated with the Salmonberry apartment projects located along Southeast Salmonberry Road. Required improvements include the installation of 3/4 street improvements along Southeast Salmonberry Road, consisting of sidewalk, landscape strip, curb gutter, bike lane, site access illumination, and roadway restoration. The required frontage improvements are depicted on Exhibit A in your packet. The improvements are directly related to the city's planned Bethel Road project, which will construct a roundabout at Bethel Road and Salmonberry Road, and includes the installation of improvements to Salmonberry Road. Due to the sequencing of the Bethel Road project and the complexity of coordinating multiple design elements, city staff have determined that it is more efficient to incorporate the Salmonberry apartment frontage improvements into the Bethel Road project rather than to require separate construction by the developer. The City and Family Legacy Development have negotiated a payment in lieu of construction agreement. The agreement relies on the city engineer's estimate for the Salmonberry Apartments frontage improvements, which totals $72,034. Under the agreement, Family Legacy Development will provide funds in that amount, authorizing the city to construct the required improvements in conjunction with the Bethel Road project. Absent the agreement, the developer would be required to complete the frontage improvements prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the Salmonberry Apartments. Approval of the agreement aligns with the timing and scope of the projects, reduces risk of redundant construction, and supports coordinated delivery of transportation infrastructure in the Salmonberry corridor. The staff recommendation is approval of the payment in lieu of construction agreement for Salmonberry Apartments frontage improvements on Southeast Salmonberry Road. Thank you.
Councilmember Chang.
I move to approve a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the payment in lieu of construction agreement as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Chang, a second by Councilmember Rosepepe. I think this is the case. We don't want them to build the sidewalks and then we tear them out. So we want to build these sidewalks and they're giving us the fee for the what it would cost to build those sidewalks. Any questions of Mr. Bond? Councilmember Fenton, go ahead.
Yeah, I was down Salmonberry and there's a bunch of trees getting logged. Is that where the apartments are going to be?
Possibly. I haven't driven down there to see if they've started work, but I believe we just issued the permits on that project. So if it's on the north side of Salmonberry, about 4 or 5 properties in from Bethel, that is property that's being cleared.
I think so, because the other one right by Bethel, that's the city's property. So my question is, so they pay the 72,000 and then we are going to do like the bike lane, everything.
Correct. And we've already designed that as part of our Bethel Road construction project. And if you'll recall, we did a similar agreement with the Hidden Hills Apartments. Mr. He had also entered into a payment in lieu of construction agreement for his frontage improvements. And one of the challenges with the right of way here is that the road isn't in the center of the right of way as it exists today. So it's hard for one developer to put the sidewalk in the right place because then the road has to be realigned. And so this is a much more streamlined way to complete the project. So we've designed it and it'll go forward as part of our roundabout project.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like, hey, they're getting a deal, I think, for the 72 and everything that the city's going to do. And then when is the time frame? Are they, when you do all that improvement and then the roundabout? Because don't you want
We're planning on going to construction on the Bethel Phase 1 in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
That's our goal.
Yeah, and I would say that apartment project is probably, an 18-month construction project. And so they're just ramping up and I'm not sure how much work they'll be able to do in the winter. It's likely that the majority of work will take place in the spring and summer.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be doing interior finish work next fall and winter.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. Do you know the lineal frontage in feet?
I don't have that offhand, but it's not a very long piece of property.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out what it costs per foot.
Yeah, and
Sidewalks agreement.
we had a separate agreement because they're also dedicating the right of way that will provide a secondary access to the Home Depot site. And so their access road that goes into the property also provides secondary access to Home Depot and then all the way through to Kathy over at Safeway over on Lund. So this creates a bypass and there will be quite a bit of traffic that can go through this property.
And what it would cost us is different what it would cost them. Right? We're paying a higher wage. We're paying, we're paying significantly more.
Yeah.
Did you think that sounded low?
It did sound.
I kind of thought the same thing, right? Thinking of transportation impact fees and those kinds of things. It's expensive to develop, but I that was my first initial thought, but I'm going to leave it to the experts because, I'm sure Chris knows way better than we do on what that should look like. So I'm just going to lean into that. I'm just going to echo that I felt the same thing. And then especially hearing from them tonight and knowing, the average house in Kitsap is $118,000 in fees before you build a house. That for an apartment complex seemed low.
But these are only their
We're-
transportation.
I get that.
This just informed me, I think, that there was not as much lineal frontage as I
Yeah,
thought.
There is
correct. It's a rectangular box running north and south.
Yeah.
There
There's
isn't
only
a
one little sliver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me paying, the city's paying prevailing wage. We're gonna pay significantly more for our projects than they are. So when we get 50 feet coming in, it's different than apartment complex getting 50 feet coming in. So
Yeah.
I think it's a smart idea to do it versus them doing it, ripping it out. That's
Yeah,
a waste
sure.
of everybody's money. So
Yeah.
Particularly when we have a road alignment.
100%,
That has to
100%.
happen all at once.
100%.
Councilmember Trenary?
So I'm happy to see Land Use Committee reviewed and approved this previously, but one of the things that concerns me about this is, and I agree with pretty much everybody here, council, that seems like not a heck of a lot of money to do what needs to be done. Far too often, we see contract amendments, cost overruns. Who's going to be responsible for any cost overruns that may come up if after this $72,000 is spent and we're still not done?
Ultimately, we are on the hook for building the project,
No matter
but
what.
we would also be on the hook for building this if we had to rip it out. So I think it's, we're probably coming out ahead because it's likely that they would put the curb in and it wouldn't be in the right alignment and then it's coming back out.
So do it right the first time. Gotcha. Thank you.
And if this project wasn't coming in, we were likely building this frontage improvements anyway with our project because we were going to the city limits. So we're getting something that we might not have gotten if the project would.
yeah, but then they would get reimbursed though when they did develop that.
Yes.
But-
Yeah.
Quick question for Nick. What are the city limits? Where does the city end on Salmonberry? Is it around Harris or?
There's a sign.
Do you know where it is?
The Thimbleberry Apartments, which are just past this site, are in the city. And then I think there's one or two more properties past that, but it doesn't go very far to the east of this project.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. It's not far past this property.
Yeah.
All right. Any further questions? You'll be voting on fee in lieu of construction for the Salmonberry Apartments. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agreement is approved. We are to item I, which was previously item H, and it is the approval of change order number 9 to contract number C059-23 with Stellar J Corporation for the Marina Pump Station Improvement Project. Mr. Ryan, this is you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update before I get into the resolution relating to the Marina Pump Station. Just 2 weeks ago, we issued substantial completion. We are fully operating that pump station with city staff. Our contractor Stellar J is finishing up last touches and cleanup has begun, and we expect them to be fully offsite on October 23rd. So before you is a resolution from the Marina Pump Station Improvement Project, critical upgrade to the facility that conveys all the city's wastewater to the South Kitsap Water Reclamation Facility. Construction has been underway since the winter of 2023. During construction, it became clear that additional asphalt paving is needed to restore parking areas and address deteriorated pavement conditions not associated with construction, not fully accounted for in the original plans on other areas. This includes areas near Frederick Avenue and around catch basins and tree planters that were impacted by the project. On October 18th, Stellar J submitted a change order request in the amount of $71,841.24 for this additional paving. Approval of this request would bring the total change order amount to just over $100,000, which requires council approval. If approved, this will bring total project contract amount to $15,566,628.41. And I also do want to clarify the portions of Frederick were already in failed condition with their pavement score index prior to the construction. Thank you.
Councilmember Trenary.
I move to authorize the mayor to execute change order number 9 to contract number C059-23 with Stellar J Corporation for the Marina Pump Station improvement project to increase the contract by $71,841.24 for a new contract total of $15,566,628.41. Applicable taxes included.
That's 15 million.
No, 15,500,000. That's a lot of,
Yeah.
lot of numbers on that thing. $15,566,000, $566,628.41.
Sorry, second, but
Okay.
wishful thinking that it was 15,000.
Motion by Council.
Wish.
A second by Councilmember Rose. Happy. Any questions for Mr. Ryan?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have one. From the start of the project, how many change orders have we had? How far over are we?
This is number
They're ready.
9.
I know we're still around budget, but how far,
So,
how many change orders have we had? And
so
what-
this is
add-
change order number 9.
9?
Yes.
What's it added up to?
The total change order amount, is the worksheet in the packet. Sorry.
I mean, the one was pretty big, right? With the concrete and the way.
We had
That was pretty hefty.
there was one in the very beginning that was large because the conditions underground were
Correct.
when we got-
Concrete.
there was
The list is that
walk.
page 227 of the packet has the full list of each amount. Oh, and it's on the screen.
And the substantial one, as the mayor just said, so what we found underground did not match original as-built.
Sure.
And then we had it's a federal fund. We had to use American steel requirements made in the USA.
So we had to,
Yeah.
that was the $200,000
so-
one, yeah.
What's that? Oh.
$250,000 one.
Okay.
So,
I didn't hear you.
Councilmember Mark.
Oh.
Benton, go ahead.
Okay.
So roughly 1.4 million, the calculator.
Yeah. Now, Dennis, will this be our last change order? That's one question.
I will not say that there's the potential for additional. I mean, we are at the finish line.
So that will be all nice. And how many, we might ask this, but how many parking lots are we going to have down there after you get it all finished up?
The rendering we have, and we won't know till we lay it out. And I'm going to talk about this on my mayor's report, but there's
Mhm.
about 40 stalls. There should be around 40 stalls.
Okay.
And we've had some conversation with Sam and the port, and I've got that in my mayor's report. I'll talk about the parking lot and what we want to do with it, propose to do with it.
Okay.
And I mean, we see this very, very often in projects. There's two ways to approach it. Change orders are not always a bad thing. We bid these projects extremely lean. We do it by line item. We're capturing actual like tonnage of asphalt, yards of concrete. We want to be as lean as we can when we do our engineer's estimate, which does subject it to change orders, but it also doesn't put a dollar amount out there that somebody's going to bid and hope that they get it because it's a big amount. So it's being conservative when we bid it, and this is what we see.
Mhm.
And in the beginning too, you don't know what's, it was we dug a hole 3 stories deep. You don't know what you're going to find until you dig that hole. Councilor Morrissey, you have a question?
It's just a quick question for Director Crocker. I assume we're going to need an amendment for this. And then where does that put us in an original budget? Because with this amendment, it's got to have us over what we had budgeted.
Within it.
Even contingency should be exhausted by now by my calculation, or really close.
We are close, but we still have a little bit of contingency left.
We do. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why it's still within the project budget and so even with our budget authority for the biennium. So from that perspective, we're good.
Okay.
But there's not much left.
There can't be.
All right. Any further questions? Councilor, go ahead.
Will there be a ceremonial event?
I hope so. It'll be in late October. I'm gun shy on setting dates based on a park project, and I'm going to wait till the concrete gets jackhammered out and replaced before I set a new one for that also. So I'm just a little gun shy, but yeah, late October, early November, it'll be fabulous weather. I'm certain. If we get into November, bring your umbrella, but and we'll flush a toilet in the restroom and clap, I guess. Yeah. But critical infrastructure.
Yes, it is.
But we will cut a ribbon or have a ceremony. I don't know, a ribbon cutting, just a ceremony or something.
Yeah.
Invite some folks that help fund it too. All right, you'll be voting to approve change order number 9 Stellar J Corporation for the Marina Pump Station project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the amendment is approved. We are now to item J, which was previously item I. And that is the approval of the July 15th council work study minutes. Councilmember Morrissey, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to accept the minutes of the July 15th, 2025 City Council Work Study meeting.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Morrissey, a second by Councilmember Fenton. All in favor of approving those work study minutes from July 15th, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we have one
abstention.
Yep, from Councilmember Trenary. So we are to the, what was a consent item E is now item K, which is the adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation for bridge inspection services. And Councilmember Chang, you're not going to get to recuse yourself.
No, but I wanted to give everyone the opportunity to complain if they wanted to.
No.
Well, people need that opportunity.
Okay. So is there a motion?
Right. I'm not allowed to make the motion because it's DOT related.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an interlocal agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation for bridge inspection services in a form approved by the city attorney with the October 2025 Lund Avenue Bridge inspection estimated at $5,850.80.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Morrissey, and I'm going to give the second to Councilmember Diener. All in favor of approving the resolution for the bridge maintenance services? All please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The resolution is passed. I believe that concludes our business, and this was a lot of it. Council committee reports. ED Tourism did not. You met.
We did. In fact, we met yesterday, Mr. Mayor. Our report, Director Bond and his team put together a great presentation for multifamily tax exemptions. There was a pretty robust conversation about that. We provided some input. I think we're going to see more, maybe at study session.
Next week.
Next week, perfect. I hope you guys are excited. We liked what we saw. And we have a couple of businesses he updated us on that had some pre-application meetings as well, which sounded, one of them sounds super fantastic, but we won't get ahead of ourselves until we know it's a project. So, and we adjourned until next month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Utilities, did you guys meet?
I did. We met tonight. We had a very high-level presentation on the sewer plan update, which will be coming to work study next week. So we'll discuss that then. We also talked a little bit about our rates that we talked about several months ago. And again, that will be coming up also. So more to follow.
Okay. Finance doesn't meet until next Tuesday. And Transportation Committee, have you met? No, not yet. Land use?
Yes, we met a couple of weeks ago. Main topics, we're talking about the middle housing ordinance as that keeps coming closer and closer. We talked about public notice signs because of the plethora of those throughout the city that continue to stay up. We also had a discussion on the middle multifamily tax exemption. So I guess we talked about that next week. And we talked about co-living housing, which is a House Bill 1998. And again, those discussions will come to council as needed.
All right. Lodging tax, and Brandy and I talked about this today.
Good. We're looking.
And so we're struggling to find people willing to participate. So what we have one bed and breakfast that we believe will participate. The hoteliers, Brandy's going to reach out to them again, but they typically refuse to participate. So we're going to do put a Facebook post out and put something on our web soliciting the bed and breakfast there because there's a lot of them out there, and we'd love to have a couple people, more people, because the more of the hoteliers or bed and breakfasts we have, we can have more members of the public then serve on that committee. I would just hate to give you a committee of two.
I would dislike that as well.
Yeah, so we're working hard on that, and Brandy and I, matter of fact, put a game plan together today on that. So
Perfect. I think she
okay.
emailed me about that.
Sewer advisory, anything to report there?
No, we did not meet in September. We're meeting next month, and that will be our budget meeting.
Okay, and does anybody want to report on copy with council? Anything to report there?
Do you want to go first?
Yes, I'll go first. I'll send more detailed minutes. Met with folks from the Tracy group. They have about 60 houses. They had some concerns when we were talking about people flipping houses and turning them into bed and breakfasts, that they're losing kind of their neighborhood. There's some thoughts about that. I talked, so there was a lot of discussion. I'll put those in my notes email. I asked some people if they wanted to chat, and they turned out they were from Silverdale and Bremerton and thought we had a wonderful city, and they had stopped for coffee, and the only thing they wish they had was more parking. So we said, we're right there with you. Lastly, and this is totally a segue, I ended up talking with a couple that were from outside of city limits down in South Kitsap. And she was recently had moved here from Italy, and we got talking about the name Rosa Pepe and Contursi, where my grandparents were from, and so it was like memory lane talking about that. So a very interesting discussion, but not much to do with council since they didn't live in the city. That was it for me.
Yeah, and first I'd like to say this is such a great idea that Eric came up with, because people like to come down and complain. And it's actually much more civil when it's face to face. One woman was actually talking about the abandoned ships and also noise, but I just suggested that maybe she take a picture of the ships and send them to the police. She wondered, whose responsibility is it to tag them and make sure that they're moving? So that was an interesting question.
And we are aware of the boats, and
Okay.
what's happening is Paul's boat ramped up their efforts and squeezed the balloon, and
they're coming down here.
Popped up here, and that's what'll happen. So we're going to go out and tag all those boats that have arrived, because a whole bunch of them arrived overnight, and there's just a process we have to go through that Paul's boat just completed, and moved them all along, and they're titled, what is it, 30 days, Chief? I think it's 30 days they can be.
Yeah, 30 days.
So that we can't do anything for 30 days. Then we can notify them. But there are a couple of vessels that have been there longer, and there's one large one. So we're actively working those. So sorry to interrupt, but
Well, let me just add to that also the county has got a derelict vessels program that involves the ports, chief, sheriffs, DNR, other state agencies. And so it's very complicated to move a boat and dispose of it. So they're working through layers of bureaucratic administration to try and make sense of this
and
make it a usable product.
And they can anchor for the first 30 days. So
Yeah.
there's nothing so even though a whole bunch of them showed up, there's nothing we can really do about that to start a process.
Yeah,
for 30
she was aware of the 30 days and she just wanted to get it started, it sounded like.
days.
So
After 30 days, we can start it.
I feel like we got an email from her as well.
Yeah, we got an email. I'm curious, where are we gonna put the boats?
All we do is inform them that they can't stay there.
Right.
It's operational. It's going to go somewhere else.
Silverdale, let them go to
It just can, it's five miles? Is the circle 5 miles?
Yeah, they have to travel 5 nautical miles away. We generally get compliance when we go out and contact them. When we do abate vessels after they've been posted, once they've been out there 30 days, we can seize those vessels. The issue then becomes cost. It also, again, to speak to what Councilmember Rosa Pepe was speaking to, we are part of the statewide organization that focuses on Kitsap Department of Natural Resources and all the other regional partners. Biggest issue is if it's floating and it's in our jurisdiction, then it's clearly ours. But as soon as it drops anchor, you have to determine if it's a Department of Natural Resources issue, and they tend to delegate that out to local agencies just because they don't have the workforce to manage that, or if it's on private property, depending on where that anchor goes. And it, again, as Councilmember Rosepevy Diener spoke to it, it's incredibly complicated. So we do stay on it the best we can with the resources that we have. As you know, several years ago, we had about $100,000 worth of grants to remove 35 vessels. The vast majority of those moved voluntarily. I believe we abated 3 last year and destroyed 3 last year. So it is a constantly evolving and rotating problem that we are on top of as best we can.
Right. Are people out there really living on them, or some of them abandoned?
Yes.
Yes and yes. Okay.
Both.
Okay.
And just for transparency, I did send an email to her kind of explaining what you just explained, Chief, that this is a very complicated process. And I gave her a contact at the county if she wanted to understand more about the overall program.
I'm sure she
Good.
appreciated that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Another lady, of course, is complaining about noise, specifically the sounds on Bay Street. She also mentioned being disappointed by the response she got from the police. One thing that we did with a lot of the people there Saturday is we told them about the C-Click Fix app, which Jay was saying. And we let them know that this is a way to inform public works. It doesn't seem to work on individuals, but sort of city-related things. So they looked at it on my phone and sort of saw what a demo was. There was a man who may have come to other coffees with council, but he was very, I guess, passionate. One of the things, of course, was traffic and speeding. He actually sounded like an earlier speaker where he was convinced that there is going to be a terrible fatality accident on Bethel by Blueberry and wanted us to do something about it right away. One thing that came up though was a discussion about how there was a stop sign put in on Pottery by Anderson, Berry Lake. It was in temporarily and then it became more permanent. So the idea was then floated, well, what if there was a stop sign on Bethel by Blueberry? You know, people would hate it.
Stop sign if there's traffic mitigation.
But, you know, it was just an idea. It's a brainstorming thing.
It'll get a roundabout here really soon.
Well, yeah, but in the, you know, this is someone who wants instant action and then I heard a complaint about someone who said there's too many apartments and the traffic is terrible. And she doesn't think we should have any more of them. And I think that was it.
So, you know, we got the complaint earlier about the speed. It's not, it's everywhere. And if you, you know, if you have the opportunity, you all have the opportunity to go right along. I rode with Sergeant Main, and you know, it was she wrote. I couldn't believe how fast this young man was coming up Port Orchard Boulevard. That at the end of the day, and we were headed back to finish the day, and you know, it wasn't you, Councilmember Morrissey. He was much. He'd only had his driver's license a few weeks.
Oh,
And was doing 60 miles an hour at Port Orchard Boulevard. So he got a lecture and a ticket. And our officers are out there writing tickets and trying to change behavior. And I really hope that no one ever, you know, we'd have any fatalities because it would be horrible. But the behavior out there is also really bad. And it's everywhere. It's not just in Port Orchard. Anything else on that subject? Okay, jump into the mayor's report. Reminder, I'm going to be at the APTA conference next week, so I won't be at the work study. Councilmember Diener is your mayor pro tem, but I believe he's going to be remote. So you guys got to do rock, paper, scissors next Tuesday and figure out who's going to run the meeting unless he's changed his plan.
No, I'm dropping my son off at college that day, and so I'll be traveling back. I may be able to attend depending on reception, but it would not be good for me to chair the meeting.
Yeah, okay. Morrissey.
Volunteers tribute.
Yeah. Okay. So you got 2-hour meeting with 3 topics on it, I believe, and one of them is the FTE program. So we're reviewing agendas tomorrow morning to make sure everything's in order, but you got a pretty packed agenda that night.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, can we just confirm by consensus that Councilmember Morrissey has
Yes,
been
everybody.
appointed for this role?
Consent.
Given thumbs up.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
Apologies. Thank you.
I've talked at least once about the mural at the library, and I reached out and was able to find Rod Hewing, who touched it up previously. And he said he's likely going to come visit family in the summer of 2026. And he'd be willing to touch up the mural for us for $3,500.
Wow.
So we might add that as a mid-year review item for you guys to consider.
Inexpensive.
And, you know, it'd get us another 10 years of life out of that mural at least. I don't know if you're aware, hopefully you're aware that the state is planning a fish culvert at just past West Bay Auto Parts on Mile Hill. And they've got a couple different alternatives. One involves a complete road closure, which
You already
staff and I have been vehemently opposed to. Just want to make sure you guys are also opposed to that, because that's the message we've been delivering.
We talked that.
Okay, we have discussed that. Okay, the county is, Kitsap County is pushing that alternative, and I made Commissioner Root aware of that. He said he wasn't aware of the county's position on that, and he would look into that. Because one of the alternatives built a bypass road on the edge of Veterans Park, but they would have to restore the park at the end of the project. But the county staff was opposed to having any impacts to Veterans Park. So I'm just reporting that I've talked to Commissioner Root. He also was opposed to and was going to gather more information and get back to me. So Wolves Drive and Mile Hill, state is starting the design of a roundabout there, a compact roundabout. And Dennis reached out, so in front of the mall, traffic light going up the hill there. The state, you know, they're going to build, you know, stamped concrete vanilla roundabout. Okay, if we want something more, we can pay. If we were to pay for the additional design and the additional construction costs, they would consider that. I don't know that that's what we want to do, but I think we could at least get them at little or no cost. You know, they do the red, you know, brick. We did the gray up there on Mitchell. I think we could get them to change the color of the concrete if you guys are, you know, okay with red versus gray.
I like red better.
You like red? Okay.
I like gray.
Okay, I'm hearing more.
Where's this? Just like consensus so that they're all the same. I don't care which color.
Okay.
Well, I think you were, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, you were looking at one being where the SK was.
So,
and then so you would have opposite colors, you know, of the school, and you're looking at possibly of a wolf's paw on there.
Well, so last time it took a very lengthy process. At a minimum, I'd like to paint something on the roundabout, like we did the SK. Maybe you know, I asked the school district what they wanted, and we came up with the SK logo. And Public Works said, why don't we put the year for the graduates? So we did that. Whether it be a wolf's head, a wolf's paw, I'll reach out to the school district. But I'd like to get permission on the front side, so when the roundabout's done, we can paint something on it versus having a lengthy process after the fact. So, Councilmember?
Yeah, so the state said that you could paint the roundabout?
Yes.
How come they won't let you paint?
We have to get permission.
Correct. Why don't they let you paint the crosswalks? No, it's a real question. I mean, if we can get permission to paint roundabouts,
well,
why can't we get permission to paint safety features like crosswalks?
So we have an agreement with the state of Washington. This is a state highway within a local city. There's an agreement that's been in place for several years. It's the responsibility is on them. They actually did it last week.
Okay, it's their responsibility, but like, I know it took forever, but it's our responsibility to advocate for safety and to have crosswalks in our city. They don't have people drive around the entire state nonstop identifying safety features. That's for us to advocate for.
So those are, yeah, that is, and there's been several correspondence with the state. It was follow up. I was reached out by a council member, and I reached out again, and they got back to it finally. It's costly. If that's something that the direction that the city council wants staff to do, we could budget for it.
Those
It's thermal
state crossings are
sure. Yeah, so,
Plastic.
so,
So we want the state to do it if we can, get them to do it.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's safety. That's why we gotta get it
Bring
done.
it back to the roundabout. I'm open for whatever design that we can come up with as a whole. I like the ideas that the rabbit hole you're going down. I think my only concern is that we have a better contractor than we did for the last state roundabout. And I know we don't get to,
Yeah.
but I hope we've given them the proper feedback.
We have. So, okay, I got an idea that you guys, we'd like to at least, so leave it red to match the other one, because in the
All right.
or in that area, I guess, and we'll get permission to put some paint on it when ahead on the front side, because otherwise it's a painful process after the fact to get permission. So they're asking for input from us now. We're gonna offer it.
yeah, if you want input, get a really good mason, do the whole thing gray and do red brick SK in there. I mean, let's get a good mason to do it. It'd be cool. Good idea, but
I like that.
anyhow.
Yeah,
Next,
it's really
next
permanent.
topic.
And it goes without saying, we can't have any raised art because it's a compact.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Cool. We gotta make the roundabout big, and that would make it really
Right.
expensive. So, yeah.
Mayor, I think you do have the option to remove the hard surface in the middle of the roundabout if you wanted to do something else, I believe.
Then we have to we have to pay for the design, and we have to maintain it. And they're not gonna allow us to do, so it would be something you could drive over. So now we got grass or plants that are getting, because they can't have an obstruction. So I don't think we want to go that direction. All right. Councilmember Ward's onto something. Maybe it's inlaid in bricks.
Yeah.
Brickwork. So did you capture that, Dennis?
I'd like to see design that for us.
All right, let's move on here. Animal control contract. I think I've talked to a couple of you about this. Animal control services, they had to, they were dropped by their insurance provider. The dollar amount escapes me. But it was a lot of money. Their new contract, our $9,000 annual increase they're asking for, it represents 9% of that new insurance requirement in this new insurance. And they only carry this insurance for the municipalities, this particular coverage for animal control services. So it seems appropriate. No, they're going to break it into 12 installments next year. We're going to next year we started a conversation about pet licensing, and they're doing it and we're doing it, and I'm questioning why we're involved in it at all. So we're going to have a bigger conversation with the Humane Society about what does it look like if you guys, when we take that out of City Hall, because we have very few people coming to City Hall to get that. And that's those certain animal license. So, and that any changes of that will come back to you in the next contract renewal with the Humane Society.
So that 9,000, is that proportionate to the call volume that we get inside the city?
Yes, it is. And that was part of the price. That's why we're 5%. It's 5% of, so what is that? Pushing 200 grand was their increase. So,
okay.
All right. Heidi asked about the parking. So Dennis and I met with Port of Bremerton the last 2 weeks ago. Might have been last week. It's a blur. We believe there's going to be about 40 stalls. The striping will happen here soon. What we talked about with them is in those 40 stalls, 3 or 4 of those being 30-minute load and unload stalls on the waterward side for the boaters, because their permanent parking is over there by the gazebo, yet they're loading and unloading their wares for the weekend down by the marina offices. So we felt it was appropriate for us to offer some of our parking in 30-minute stalls there. We also I've also talked to Sam, what time length should the remainder of those stalls be? And as we talk through that, the streets are all 2 hour. The other parking lot on the waterfront is 4 hours. It seems appropriate that those stalls, the remainder of those stalls, be 4 hour stalls. Historically, we've had a few stalls in that area that were for merchant passes. No, they were $30 in the past, which is a parking ticket and a half, and nobody takes us up on it. Do you want us to amend that ordinance as we bring these changes to parking back to you guys and offer those stalls at least? You know, it's for the employees and the business owners to, you know, getting parking tickets, but nobody seems to want to take us up on that. So
They don't?
nope.
Is this on our rock lot you're talking?
I'm talking about the waterfront. Before the Marina project, we had an entire row of stalls that were available to the merchants at $30 a month. And nobody took us, everybody wants to park for free. Nobody wants to pay $30.
I think we need to provide it still, even if.
Well, how will that stay open for them?
Because we make it available up to, I can't remember how it read before, like 10 or up until 10 or 11 o'clock. No, and actually, I would propose we manage this differently. And maybe we start with like 4 stalls, right, and number them, and somebody gets, you know, so I got to work with staff on how we could manage this. Historically, nobody's wanted to pay for that parking pass and that privilege.
So interesting. Well, doesn't the don't you pay for a parking pass over by the bank, or isn't there merchants that's already paid for?
I don't know about merchants. We have employees that do the bank. The bank offers paid parking to some individuals.
They just do.
Which is it's the same price, which is the same price that we've been leasing ours to.
Mm-hmm.
Have we put any thought into using the rock lot that we have, that I think the construction folks
can't use that for permanent parking? We're using for
yes, during construction.
Yeah, we can't.
Well, it's not classified the parking lot.
Yeah, our code doesn't allow us to have
a gravel lot
Well,
in our parking lot.
I think too, where the problem comes in for the merchants parking is on where Josephine is, and over by Peninsula Bevco, they have parking. They have their own stalls, but the people on the other side of the street do not have their own stall.
Because their property, they don't have it on any.
They don't.
land on their property. So
Right.
Anyway, it sounds like you guys want to offer some stalls. We'll maybe we'll start with 2 or 4 or something, and
They fill up, go from there.
yeah, and add to it. Okay.
See
All
what
right.
demand is.
Okay. So we globally start talking about also historically the port has mowed the grass. It's our property where the grass is, and they've emptied the garbage for us, and they've mowed the grass. But we're adding more grass around the Marina pump station. So in our discussions with them, we're going to take over mowing the grass. Let's see here. They're going to continue to take care of the garbage because we're going to show up once a week to mow the grass, but they got people down there every day. So they're going to empty the garbages. They're going to continue to take care of all the flower beds down there. They had an ask of us. They are concerned that they've got restrooms at the gazebo and at the boat launch. Right. And they are concerned that we have our restroom open all the time, that it will promote unwanted behavior. They're asking until the Orchard Street Plaza is built and this space is much more active, that we only open our restroom when we have festivals or activities going downtown. So we've got people down there down there that need the restrooms, but on a daily basis, there's really nobody down there, and there are public restrooms at the 2 ends, and there's also public restrooms at the bathroom. So that was the request.
What bathroom are they talking about?
Our marine pump station
that will be at the pump station, but are not available right at this moment.
They are not available right now. Okay. They will when at the end of October, when we open this thing up, there's a restroom there, and they're just saying, and when we've got festivals, events, we've got people down there, open up the restroom, and we're going to be responsible for cleaning that restroom. But on a daily basis, when there's not activity down there, they feel it will draw homeless activity, unfortunately.
Well, what about it just being closed at night? There's bathrooms down at one end, but the other bathrooms are the marina and you have to have.
You gotta
key
have
in
a
it.
key.
There's restrooms over here at the boat launch.
Oh, yeah.
And there's both restrooms over at the,
Are those open all the time?
yeah.
No,
Cause they're not, cause
they're timed.
yeah,
During the day, they're open during the day, they're mag locked.
okay, and then at night they
I'm just
close.
Communicating that they're
Right, and I'm just trying to understand it.
the activity that's going on.
Yeah.
And they're just saying, until this, when we've got lots of people and activity going on down here, not gonna be a problem, but they feel when that space isn't active, that there's gonna be unwanted activity and
Well, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No, go ahead and finish this thread. I wanted to.
Well,
go back.
well, I also know at Josephine's, there's a lot of people that go in and use her bathroom and she doesn't really like that. And then at the dock, that's only for the people that are in there using it or be going to the restaurant. And so,
What they're talking about is though, when there aren't activities and things going on down there,
mhm.
not having, but when Saturdays, we got the farmer's market, there's various festivals and events all the time. Definitely having the restroom open when there's people down there that so they're not going in and using those restrooms, so that we have a facility,
Yeah.
down there. So
Are you looking for a response tonight or are you just prepping us for a future
I
discussion?
try to bring an ILA back because from the port.
Yeah.
And I'm prepping you for
A future.
future decision.
Okay, I need some time to mull.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Also, who owns the garbage cans on the boardwalk?
The port, so some of them are probably ours and theirs, but the port's gonna manage those for us. They're
Okay.
the port. The ones on the boardwalk are the ports.
I would appreciate reaching out to the port and telling them to upgrade their garbage cans. One of them is a 55-gallon drum that's used for trash. And I feel like if these trash cans were on the other side, we wouldn't be seeing those. And so I feel like we're being neglected in some of the simple but still beautification issues that we could engage in.
And sometimes on events, the smaller ones by the walk-on ferry, they kind of get overflowed.
Right. And same with the benches that are down there. I know that they're just repairing them here and there, but at some point it starts to look a little unkempt with those benches that I believe are the ports as well.
They are. That area, whole area is.
Yeah. So if they could take a look at that, that would be great for us.
All I can do is ask. So,
Yeah.
that was it. We kind of came to a meeting of minds and that was one of their requests is, once we have the Orchard Street Plaza, and the community center there, kind of activity. And they're not concerned at all at that point, but they just have some concerns right now. That concludes my mayor's report. Department heads, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you. Just a couple follow-up items to start out with. So earlier last week, there was a correspondence, I believe, with some council members on Tremont on the crossing. So currently staff has started the process of ordering additional flags to install at the marked crosswalks just at the roundabouts. We do have the RRFB, which is the mid-block crossing. We do have a future project. We'll take a look at possible bid alternates if there's any room for improvement that we can do. So that's something that we're going to consider. But for the short term, we're going to get additional flags up there. So just an update on the Bay Street overwater structure demolition project. I know that's near and dear to everyone in this room. So we did have everything submitted as far as the HPA with Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. They kicked it back. They are requiring additional survey benchmarks to be located at the shoreline. That work is completed. That was resubmitted back to WDFW for the HPA. I talked personally with the person that is in line the next to approve. It was the last remaining thing. Once it gets her desk, there's a 7-day, when she approves it, there's a 7-day period before the permits are issued. She is going to notify me when it gets approved internally so we can schedule our pre-construction. Our in-water work window just started on August 15th. We have until February to get them down. I'm hopeful that we'll have this permit in hand within a few weeks. We have the demo permits through the city is all under process, ready to go. We started that earlier, so we're ready once we get this HPA, but we are geared up. We are ready to go. So just an update on that.
So Dennis,
Yes.
what will it look like to let the neighbors know that these impacts are going to be coming? Because I imagine there'll be at least one lane that's going to be occupied. during this.
Well, we,
Instant
our
notice.
typical process is we're going to put notices out.
Okay.
And we'll do local, like social media, website, portable changeable message boards will be out on Bay Street.
Well, so going a little bit above that, some of the people that live across from those may not have social media feeds that they follow or anything like that.
There really aren't any driveways along Bay Street on that side. Their driveways are all up on Perry.
There's like,
It's gonna-
no, there's,
No,
there's the white.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
down more towards
corner.
town.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
my comment is if we could reach out to those that we know will be impacted with a letter mailed to them, I think that would be a good. Right. Yeah. I think that'd be good customer service.
Yep, we can do it. Sorry, and then my last item was just an update on Givens Park. So we did have delays in the final completion. There was some concrete rejected. We want it to be perfect. It has to do with ADA access. It has to meet that criteria. They did not build it as designed, so that's what's pushed us back, but the park is looking fabulous. The restrooms are getting ready to be reopened. It'll be just during the day. We're going to lock them by night. Our crews have totally refurbished those bathrooms with our internal staff. The shelter has been redone. And then also we put some paint on the Givens Center. I'm sorry, the Active Club, just to make it look a little bit more appealing. So.
Nice.
Mr. Ryan, we're talking about the pickleball courts quickly. I fielded a phone call earlier this evening about someone who was up at those pickleball courts and said something. I know very little about pickleball. Let me start off with that. But based off of how they were configured, you're not going to be able to play pickleball on a lot of them because your ball's always going to be going somewhere else. I've just thought I'd pass that along because there's no backstop to it.
This
It's identical to what we have at Vanzi.
Is it?
And I play at Vanzi.
Okay. I didn't know anything. I just thought I would share. 'Cause this person already plays very regularly at Vanzi and said it's not set up the same way. So I don't know what any of that means.
Right.
I'm just passing that along.
So I've filled in many pickleball calls in the last 20 years, but every court's a little bit different, and there's a range of how big the courts can be. So this is a retrofit. I mean, this court is probably the 1950s. The existing surf probably at least that. So
Something about the ball will always be going somewhere else. So I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just providing two.
They do at Vanzi too.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know enough.
Yeah. I mean, it might be tighter than Vanzi because the space is smaller. But
I just said I would do my part. I did it. Thank you.
Yeah.
We can move on.
Yeah. All right.
Quick question on that one is, since the contractor didn't do due diligence, when is the park going to open officially?
As I said, I'm not going to give any dates because until we see some work being done there. So they've got a jackhammer. I haven't seen them jackhammer the concrete out that they needed before.
What's our recourse?
Eventually, if they don't perform, we would go after their bonds and do the work ourselves. And yeah, we don't want to go that route.
I know, but I don't want to wait too long either.
So substantial completion, there's a date for next week. They're trying to make it still. So they were demoing today.
Were they? Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Bertrand.
Dennis, thank you for moving forward with the crosswalk flags up on Tremont. We all received a letter from one of our concerned citizens about that. I personally have been in that area a few times and I'm a frequent flyer in my vehicle. And it is hard to see people that are trying to get across that road. And so even a minimal improvement like flags, crosswalk flags up there will be a huge improvement for safety of not only pedestrians, but for the vehicles as well. So thank you.
Yeah, we can ask that. So, hey, Dennis, the state's roundabout, could we ask that since it's right near school to the crossings have high intensity flashing beacons on them?
Which roundabout is this?
The Wolves Drive roundabout,
Wolves Drive roundabout.
the one we were talking about.
Okay.
That maybe the state needs because there's schools on there.
So
That's
it
just-
would be our staff. If it's a city street, a state highway through, they didn't we put those ones on Bay Street, which is a state road.
What Where the roundabout is a state highway and
I'm
they're
sorry.
designing the roundabout.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes, I
Okay,
will.
what
Can we
we're,
get them to,
we've jumped to a different roundabout.
Yes.
sorry,
Sorry.
it just related to this particular.
Yeah.
So,
I will put the request in.
yeah, make a request that, to ensure that the state, when in their design is considering high intensity flashing beacons. Okay, Mr. Ryan, move on.
I'm done.
Mr.
All right, Mayor, I just want to follow up on the prior question for the opioid payments overall. In total, over the 15 years, 487,000, which is roughly about 30,000 a year.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, we had some discussion at the land use committee meeting about the public notice signs that are up whenever projects are proposed. I did want to let the city council know that our code enforcement division is working on some internal policies for getting those signs removed once the comment periods are over. We may have to do some better a better job of notifying people when they pick up the sign of the requirement to remove them. But we did go pick up the first sign, I believe yesterday. And we are going to, if you see any of those, see click fix, or if any of the citizens see a sign that is bothering them, report it to us, because we don't necessarily drive by these things every day, but we are happy to go pull the ones down, especially if they're in the right of way.
Yeah, the particular one they picked up yesterday had fallen off. It was laying in the ditch.
There's a lot.
You see those situations? Yeah, let us know, because and we'll send somebody out.
Those,
I'd send somebody all the way down Oak Clifton. There's at least 4 different spots.
Yeah.
so those are signs, Nick, that we prepare and then they take and stake.
Yes.
Correct. We write the information on the sign. It has a requirement for the lettering height, and we fill it out, they pick it up and post it, and they pay for the sign.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully better messaging will help, but if not, maybe consider something like this. You're putting down a deposit on this sign and we give you your money back when you return it.
Yep, we're looking into that.
Okay.
Okay, that's Ms. Archer.
Thank you. Really quickly, 2 things. One, tomorrow at lunchtime, my colleague Jennifer Robertson and myself are presenting for AWC the Understanding Washington's Ethics Laws for Elected Officials. This is an online training that you can still register for if you have nothing to do at lunchtime tomorrow. And you can register through the AWC website for that. And then I'm also presenting me and a representative from MRSC. I'm doing another public records training that I know at least one council member has attended in the past. This session will focus on privacy as it relates to public records and the recent case law, which I believe I touched on here, involving the city of Seattle and whether or not they're sort of the contours of the privacy exemption, because I think it's a very commonly misunderstood concept that there is a privacy exemption or the concept of privacy is somehow embedded in the Public Records Act. And it is, but it is very nuanced. And so a lot of things that we think are private that would never go out in a public records request are indeed things we are compelled to produce. So that will be on September 30th, and that's through MRSC. And you can register through MRSC. And I believe the city has free registrations as well, so you could contact Brandy. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a couple things. I just want to address traffic enforcement since it's come up a couple times today. We do data-driven enforcement. What that means is that we look over our historical data for where our collisions are most frequent. That tends to be the Bethel corridor. We also focus on school zones, and we do work in the McCormick area. Over the last year, we've seen 50% increase in our infractions, which has resulted in a 10% decrease in our collisions. So obviously that strategy is much better than just shotgunning and hoping it. That doesn't mean that we don't respond to citizen complaints, but we are trying to reduce collisions in areas that we know that we have collisions with injuries. We also participate with the Kitsap County Traffic Safety Task Force. And for the rest of the year, pretty much for the last several months, we have been out at least once a week with a traffic safety emphasis in our jurisdiction, in addition to around the county. So there is traffic enforcement that is going on, but changing behavior takes time. And as the mayor addressed, this is not an issue that is unique to our community. This has been a breach of the social contract pretty much since COVID. And everyone I know nationally is struggling with this issue. The second issue, I just wanted to advise you of a project that we're working on. So with our tsunami advisory that we had back in July, We're looking at how, from the at least emergency management standpoint, how we can alert the public that is down on our waterfront, which is where our risk is, how we can better alert them if there is a need for them to evacuate uphill. And we are partnering with DEM, Department of Emergency Management for the county, and a couple other of our regional partners to explore emergency alert communication devices that will be downtown that can provide both alert tones and intelligible voice communication. Yes, sir.
So one of the issues that the county's comp plan was remanded on was evacuation and emergency routes, lack of planning for that. So I know that we're going to be engaging DEM so that we can get our comp plan compliant. So sounds like a good partnership opportunity there.
Yes, and Dennis and I have already been working with the state to put some signage downtown. Our evacuation routes are go up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, right.
It's fairly simple for us. You don't stay on bay, you just go up. Once you get up to the first, second level of streets, you're pretty good for whatever is going to come down through the inlet. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief, for the emphasis patrols. For sure, the first week of school, it was noticeable, it was intentional, and I think it made a difference.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about it and authorized overtime for that. And because we wanted it to be visible in the school zones.
Yep.
So, Ms. Wallace?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I have a few things for you this evening. We don't have any council members lined up to copy with the council for October, November, or December. So it looks like we have
October.
Are you gonna
October.
and Marcy for October 4th.
Sorry, did you say my name in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
November. And I'll do November also. October and November.
I don't know any further, but I can commit to the 4th today.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So that's one.
You only have 3 though. I'm hearing. So,
The other item that I have for you is that we have opened up the sponsoring a tree for the downtown Holiday on the Bay event. Historically, the council members have pitched in with their own personal funds to purchase and decorate a tree. I believe it's $55. Or is the council as a whole still wanting to do that with private funds? Individual funds, what's the term? Your own money? Okay, I'll have Janine send some information to you. The other item I wanted to talk about was a thank you for approving the code codification agreement that was on the consent agenda. So what that means, here in the next 30 to 45 days, our code will be updated online for the public to look at and see better searching capabilities, as well as they can get notified of any section of that code that changes. They will get instant notification automatically. So that's one of the perks of switching to this new system. The other option is that we can also link what's it called? Applications within the code. So if there's a special event application, there's permit applications, we can link that as well within the code. So it's a one-stop shop, if you will. And then we can also embed specific messages within the section of the code for whatever reason. I'll get some examples and send that out to you once we go live. So again, thank you for approving that contract.
So I have a question about that. Have we already contracted for those additional benefits that you talked about, embedded links and messages? I feel like it's a menu option, right? That you get with Code Publishing, who was apparently bought out.
Yes, it is with, I should know this, hold on.
But have we subscribed to like the full meal deal and all of?
You just authorized the contract tonight under the consent agenda. So yes, and it'll take 30 to 45 days to get them to finalize the project.
Okay, so we've got the platinum program with them? Wow. Okay.
Yes, yep.
And on that note, I think enhanced graphics was part of that package.
Correct.
So we can now do better tables and graphics for our design standards. And so that was one of the things that I requested in that updated agreement.
Correct. And then the other item, I believe that DCD requested is that they are working on it. It'll probably take till the end of the year to complete the final project, but is definitions. So wherever there's a definition within our code, you hover over that term and they'll see the definition right there. So that's another feature that will be coming to the members of the public. And there's also some internal features that staff can work on internally with the code across multiple departments, creating internal red lines, if you will. So that's what's coming forward for the municipal code. Publications, we updated the city's website related to subscriptions, meaning public notifications, that we switched to Constant Contacts a few months back. And so we have now finalized the process of selecting multiple notification topics. So before we were only limited to 2 or 3. And so now members of the public can go to the city's website and sign up for specific notices that relate to a specific topic, such as quorum notices, city hall closures, coffee with the council, inclement weather, project notices, road closures. So if they only want to know about utility outages, they can select that, sign up, and anytime we have a utility outage, they will get notified and not worry about coffee with the council if they don't want to go and notified. So that's what I have for you. And then I have, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask that because, the see it, click it, click it, fix it is still relatively new. If there's some way we could enhance, some more information about it somehow. I think it's still new because the 3 people I talked with at Coffee didn't know about it. They were excited about it. And I think that was probably the same with you, Fred. So if there's some way
to the app, it is also confusing because the icon is not very good actually. And the splash page says Kitsap 1 on it. So that confuses people who are expecting to see Port Orchard when they launch it.
So I believe that particular section is managed by Public Works, and we partner with the county. And so there is a fix, but I don't know if Dennis wants to speak to that or not.
It truly is the county's app. Yeah. I mean, we've just partnered with them. That's why
they're very quick at referring things to the city.
Yeah.
So we are non-paying. So we've checked into getting our logo, and we've been told that we cannot get our logo on it unless we had our own, which would be our own subscription.
And we did do a cost research on that last year, and I believe it was 30,000.
Is it something along those lines?
Yeah, to get our own.
Yeah, so I'm not referring to that, but I'm just saying that there's some way we could
Yeah, we'll work on
heighten awareness on it. That's all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can do that. And then it's my understanding that a few months back, you guys you were introduced to our intern, Tasha. And one of the items that she was tasked with is at the end of her departure to provide the council with what she has learned. And so I am sad to say that next week will be 3 months that she's been here, and her time will be well missed. She's venturing on to other things, and she is here tonight to give you a presentation of what she has learned about the city government, clerk's office, and all the above.
And we're getting to the witching hour, so I'm sorry to cut you.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Won't be too
short.
No. Hello, Mayor and council members. For the last few months, I've had the opportunity to intern with the clerk's office and experience what local government offers. Coming from healthcare, I was initially intimidated by the broad scope of the clerk's responsibilities. However, Brandy and Janine noticed that I was ready for a challenge, and this was an excellent opportunity to broaden my skills in many directions. Among their many roles, they run the city's social media page, manage public records, and serve as the primary contact for the public and assist the mayor. After a couple weeks, thanks to Janine's patient guidance, I gained the confidence to create purchase orders for the city's needs, even if I needed to revise a few drafted purchase orders with the correct sales tax, which is 9.3%. I've collaborated with multiple departments to post social media content informing citizens about Port Orchard news. With the collaboration of Brandy and the HR department, I created the public service request postcard for employees to use when they're working out on the field. I've worked with the police, accounting, and DCD departments to review and process local business license. I have also adjusted and distributed city council forms and assisted in setting up the council chambers. But the most important part to remember is that nobody sits directly to the right of the mayor, which Morrissey is kind of sitting a little close. Yeah. Additionally, I have learned how local and county records are filed and stored and what records are available to the public. Laserfish is the new record keeping system that the clerks have integrated. It is easy to understand as it features different drop-down menus that will assist the clerks in finding public records more easily. I have always been fascinated by history, and what is cooler than learning history about your hometown? I felt nostalgic when I saw early records from the town of Port Orchard. The stamps, the photos, and the smell of old books captivated me, and I thoroughly enjoyed commuting on the Carlisle 2 and the Admiral Pete. The pictures on the boat tell a great story of the early 1900s and how crucial local ferrying was for the people and the economy. Since starting my internship, I realized that I am the only intern to assist with city council meetings, and I have contacted each city clerk's office in Kitsap County and King County's clerk's office. Port Orchard is currently the only city that offers, on this side of the water, a clerk's internship. Into 2021, Ordinance 6521 was enacted, which provides interns with insight into workings of local government, which I encourage the mayor and city council members to advocate for establishing the clerk's internships across cities in Kitsap County, or you can bring it up at your next AWC conference. By doing so, you can cultivate the next generation of civic leaders and ensure our communities are engaged and involved. In closing, I want to express my gratitude for the invaluable experience that I've gained during my internship with the clerk's office. I've learned to respect the process and the complexity of municipal operations. Every day I've learned something new. This opportunity has deepened my understanding for local government and fueled my passion for public service. As a future radiology professional, I will play a crucial role in diagnostics and patient care. With my new experience, I will advocate for better policies and practices that will enhance the community's health. Yet the most vital thing to inform the public is to get involved with your local government, go to city council meetings, and ask those elected officials those hard questions. You are your best advocate. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to answer any of your questions in my time that I've worked in the clerk's office.
Jessica, it's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so
It was fun.
much. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. I think we're done with department heads. We're to our second citizen comment period, and thank you for your patience. I know we had a long day tonight, so the microphone is yours and you have 3 minutes.
I'm Joseph White, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about our property. Our property runs adjacent to Tremont Street and to Sunset Street. It's near the roundabout that's at Tremont and Pottery, and we hope to build a new home on the side that we currently live in a house that's close to Tremont. We hope to build a new home on the side that's closer to Sunset. But we've run into some expenses that seem like it's going to be prohibitive for us to build that. And I just wanted to mention first a couple of the reasons. There's been, since the putting in the roundabout and the road coming closer to our house, we've had a lot more noise pollution, a lot of loud traffic. I'm worried about the air pollution there. There's often sirens outside of our bedroom window a lot, and we have the urgent care nearby. With the sidewalks in, there's more foot traffic, but that means that there's also sometimes people walking down the street at night screaming at various things, and cars knocking down the light poles that are up there by the roundabout. Also, when the project first went in and they closed the street there just past our driveway, a lot of people learned that our driveway connects Tremont to Sunset, and they still remember that. And so we get a lot of traffic just going through our property, and we hope to build a place then that will cut that off. We'll have a new house on the Sunset on the Sunset side, where we can have a little more quiet and hopefully get a good night's sleep. But as my wife mentioned earlier, we were notified that there is a charge of $117.50 per linear foot and frontage, and with the other fees for connection, it totals to $108,561 to connect if we were going to build this house that we would like to build. And while I recognize and respect the city's responsibility to fund essential infrastructure, I believe this fee structure places an unreasonable and disproportionate financial burden on my property for the following reasons. So I would like clarification as to how the $117.50 per foot rate was determined, specifically whether this fee represents the actual cost for extending and connecting my parcel to the utility system, or if it's a generalized formula. And then it's a disproportionate burden. The frontage-based formula penalizes properties with unusually long frontage, even when only a single water and sewer connection is necessary. We're just going to be building a single-family home there, not, let's say, an apartment building. And then the Washington State Constitution, Article 7, requires that fees and assessments be proportionate to the special benefit conferred upon the property. A frontage-based calculation that produces $56,302.50. So that's just for the frontage charge for this project.
Sir, your time is up, but what I would recommend is that you give your comment, your contact information to the clerk's office, because the Public Works Department would be more than happy to give you that information related to how that's calculated and the methodology for that. We'll be more happy to do that for you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Jessica Gallegos White. And furthermore, on our Tremont side, when the city of Port Orchard and the federal government with funds widened that road and put sewer in, our septic tank didn't have clear diagrams because it was installed in 1939. So what's happened is that the wall that has been constructed there goes right through our drain field. So now we're looking at another 260 feet on that side of frontage. And so I believe that was $58,000 just to connect to the sewer on that side. This code went in place in 2021. We were not notified that this code was going in place. This was not the situation we were in when the road widened. We figured, hey, we'll connect to the sewer at the sewer connection fees. That right here I have the utility fee as just $15,399. That is reasonable, and that is probably $7,000 more than it was when the road went in. You know, we're just a humble family. We keep our property clean. We love the entrance to Port Orchard, and we try to make sure that it's nice for people coming into our town and to our community to know that we care for it. We put, you know, a lot of effort into that, and these fees are just absolutely out. They're going to move us out of here. This is not making us a sustainable community. We are not a huge corporation. We're a humble family. We have kids in college. And we just need a nice, comfortable place to live. So that's what we have to say. And we'll keep visiting you. We know the elections are coming up, and this is a huge issue, and we're going to push it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, whatever dialogue, could at least I be kept in the loop on that?
We'll share
Yeah, that would be good.
what the methodology and the answers to the applicant is.
Please.
Yeah.
Email it to us.
Okay. All right. Anything for the good of the order? We know we're getting a little late here.
I have a couple of things. One is flu shots are available. I would like to put that out so people can get updated as the season commences. I mentioned this every time elections roll around. We had 36% voter turnout for the primary. I would ask that people please register, contact Kitsap County Auditor's Office at their convenience. And lastly, I don't believe we moved any where with the cabaret licensing, that was not something that we wanted to move
Correct.
forward
It
with.
was discussed at length.
I
Yeah.
remember that, but I would like to at least have someone just reach out to Mr. McGee and say, we discussed this, there was no movement on, just so that we come full circle, that's all.
There were not enough votes to move it forward.
But he wasn't
Clerk's
involved in
office
it.
can do that.
No, he wasn't.
Research
Just saying, that's all. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Morrison.
Yeah, just a couple quick things as well. One, you all received an email, so I won't go into the details. Habitat for Humanity is having a breakfast coming up. I sat with somebody recently and didn't know that was going on, and they're like, "How does not anybody know? All of our build is inside of your city limits, so it'd be nice to have some representation there." Is there a way, do we have this room on automated environmental controls? Did not start this warm this evening, but it
came out of the executive session. It was quite cold, so.
so we made a change at that
Yeah,
point. Okay.
yes, we did.
Okay.
Are you?
It's hot. I'm feeling warm. I know I can feel it in my ears for sure. So that was number two. And then the last thing real quick, more information is going to come up on this one. But there was Councilmember Rose Pepe and I ran into each other at a Circle of Champions for South Scottsdale School District last evening. There's going to be more information to come, but it's a great opportunity for us to lean in and help our school district get better.
All right, anything, Councilmember, go ahead.
Yeah, this coming Saturday will be the last night market, Saturday, the 16th. And then also, Dennis, I do want to say, because you know how I have passion about the crosswalks, and I noticed them the very next day, especially on Sydney and Bethel and right along here. So I really appreciate those getting done.
Saturday's the 13th.
The Saturday is the 6th.
13th.
13th.
It's okay.
15th is-
You
So
mean
is
this
the
Saturday?
16th, the last Saturday?
It's this Saturday.
Yes,
is
this Saturday.
the
Why did I pick the 16th? Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. But this Saturday is the last night market.
Yeah. Can we just remind people that there's a sign-in sheet when they come up with it? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
all right. Anything else? Our meeting is adjourned.
You saw that. However,